Always here with you.
Good listening.
Radio 2.
There's jazz on 2 after 9, a big band special at 8:30, but first our regular Monday night date with Alan Dell.
Hello again. This, I'm sad to say, is in the nature of an in memoriam edition of this programme because we've lost so many artists and musicians from the dance band days during the latter part of last year and in the comparatively few weeks of this year. One of the more elderly was 84-year-old Billy Milton, who passed away in November. He had a remarkably successful career in films, on the West End stage, and in America, where he starred in Noel Coward's This Year of Grace. And then in the London production of Bittersweet in 1929, the year in which he began recording with Van Phillips and his orchestra.
I'm a dreamer, aren't we all? Just a dreamer, aren't we all? Every night in dreams it seems my sweetheart comes to call. She's so charming, sweet and small, it's alarming how I fall. She's divine, but still she isn't mine, and I'm a fool, but aren't we all?
During the 30s, Billy Milton continued in films, starred in cabaret in New York, and on stage in Australia and Paris. He toured with Enser during the war, and in later years played many character parts in films, and enjoyed entertaining at the piano at the Chesterfield Hotel in Mayfair well into the 80s. I remember receiving a charming letter after I'd played one of his records with either the Four Bright Sparks or Van Phillips. One like this, perhaps.
Oh, then I should fall in love with you. Do you think that you could love me too? Oh, then I should hold you and caress you. Would it impress you or distress you? Oh, then I should say for you I yearn. Would you think I'm speaking out of turn? And so then I declare it. Would you take my love and share it? I'm not supposing I'm in love with you.
The voice of Billy Milton. One of the very elderly talents among dance band musicians lost to us in mid-December last was Ellis Jackson. Born in America, he came to Britain in 1907 as a double act with his father. They were the musical Jacksons. He worked in the Southern Syncopated Orchestra in America and returned to making music that way, when he joined Billy Cotton in 1931. He was the most valuable member of the band, as many will recall. Not only was he a fine trombonist, but he would pop up on record from time to time in some character vocal. Some of you, I'm sure, will remember his appearances in the 1932 Cotton recordings of I Heard and How Am I Doing, sharing the songs with Cyril Grantham. And what's more, also tap dancing.
I know a girl named Sally Green, hottest girl in New Orleans. She loved to dance, she loved to sing, she'd even take a chance on any old thing. The other night down at the hall, when the band would play, Miss Sadie'd go on that floor, and this is what she'd say. How am I doing? Hey, hey, tweet, 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 taw, taw. How am I doing? Hey, hey, gee, oh, baby, oh, sure. No, I'm not bragging, but it's understood that everything I do, I sure do go do. How am I doing? Hey, hey, tweet, 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 taw, taw. Oh, how am I doing? Hey, hey. But minute, but minute, oh, how am I doing? Hey, hey. But did it, but no. I'll say I'm not very best in town, but I'll be best till the best comes round. And how am I doing? Oh, hey, hey, but did, but not.
How am I doing, boss? Boy, you're doing fine. Mind your ankles don't catch fire. Them real feet?
Sure is, boy. I can smell him from here.
Oh, I don't think that's good. Sure, something.
Ellis Jackson's Twinkling Feet. He died at the grand age of 98 at Brinsworth House, to which many musicians retire. Last week, I think it was on Tuesday, there was a telephone message from Neville Ragg of radio station 3AW in Melbourne, Australia, with the news that Max Goldberg passed away in the early hours of February the 11th in the MacLeod Nursing Home in Melbourne. There is perhaps a definitive book still to be written about the great players of the British dance bands. When it is, I hope a large chapter is devoted to the work of Max Goldberg, who was born here but raised in Canada, and no doubt absorbed the fundamentals and feeling that North Americans bring to a music which is basically theirs. Trumpeter Max Goldberg's work is to be admired on the recordings by the Ambrose Orchestra, which he joined in 1931. But he was always the first trumpet choice of men like Van Phillips, and in 1929 was one of the hand-picked musicians of the New Mayfair Orchestra under Carol Gibbons, and was often allowed to show his trumpet mastery, especially in his use of mutes, when Ray Noble directed that orchestra. I could probably have picked any of a dozen records to illustrate Max Goldberg's fine playing, but how about Ray Noble's arrangement of Cole Porter's It's Bad For Me, with Max leading the beautifully balanced brass section, and then soloing. Apologies to the Al Bowley fans for omitting his vocal chorus on that, but I wanted to focus on Max Goldberg. But Bowley, in this recording, shares a conversation with Goldberg's trumpet.
Shout, shout for happiness, there's no joy unless you shout for happiness all day through. Oh, sing, sing, let your voices ring, bid your troubles adieu. Take the joy that is meant for you. Don't sit in a corner like Jackie Horner. Get where the bright lights are. Just look up high, search the sky, find your lucky star. Shout, shout, shout for happiness. There's no joy if you're blue. Shout for happiness all day through. Well, 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 who do I see right in front of me but Max Goldie in the flesh? Hey, gosh, but you're looking well and full of spirits, too. No, I didn't say whiskey. Come on, Max. Tell me, what makes you feel for happiness, huh? Been to see the Cup final. Oh, I can see it right in your eye. You're just dying for a drink, huh? Well, come on, let's go.
Max Goldberg's exciting trumpet with Ray Noble's orchestra. I can't remember when Max Goldberg decided to emigrate to Australia. Even Tiny Winters, who's kept in touch, can't quite recall, but keep in touch he has. In later years, through the good offices of a very good friend, Roy Perry, who, after Max suffered a stroke, used to travel a considerable distance to bring cheer and comfort and read the letters and messages from friends like Tiny. We'll pause there a moment in these reminiscences because we have an urgent travel message from Colin Berry. Colin?
Yes, Alan, it's a flash message of severe weather in North Lancashire and Cumbria, issued by the Met Office at 18:20 today. Heavy rain has been falling over Cumbria and North Lancashire through the day, and further rain is expected through this evening, giving hazardous conditions on many roads. That's in the North Lancashire and Cumbria area. Back to you, Alan.
Thank you very much, Colin. We'll be talking about people who, unfortunately, have been lost to us recently. And another loss this year, as I mentioned last week, in fact, is singer Gene Crowley. His home was in Connecticut, and I used to receive lovely chatty letters from him whenever I played any of his records. He was still entertaining on the cruise liners until quite recently, I think. And I remember once his asking me to play one particular favourite of his. I think it was also a song that his mother rather liked. With Bram Martin's orchestra, here's Night Over Shanghai.
Up in smoke, where are the dreamers who never awoke? They're gone like the driftwood, gone out of sight in the darkness, all the Shanghai in the night.
Martin and his Holborn Restaurant Band, and the late Gene Crowley. Guitarist, vocalist, lyric writer, author, radio and TV comedy writer, light entertainment head for Yorkshire Television, all those things were the accomplishment of Sid Colin, who died in December. Musically, his guitar playing and singing were featured with the orchestras of Ambrose, Lou Stone, Jack Jackson, and he's forever remembered with the RAF Squadronaires. One of his best-known ditties is If I Only Had Wings, which he recorded with Geraldo. I'm sure many remember that. But while with the Squads, he had the job of delivering the rhythmic novelties like Chattanooga Choo Choo, the GI Jive, Shoo Shoo Baby, or Blues in the Night.
mammy done told me when I was in knee pants. My mammy done told me, son, a woman will sweet talk and give you the big eye. But when the sweet talking's done, a woman's a two-faced, a worrisome thing who'll leave you to sing the blues in the night. Natchez to Mobile, from Memphis to St. George, wherever the four winds blow. I've been in some big towns and heard me some big talk, but there's one thing I know. A woman's a two-faced, a worrisome thing who'll leave you to sing the blues in the night.
The late Sid Colin, and the Squadronaires, directed by Jimmy Miller. In December 1944, a young trumpet player came to join the great Geraldo Orchestra, still at its wartime peak of broadcasts and personal appearances. His name was Freddy Clayton, and he took the chair of one of the, cornerstones of the Geraldo organization, Leslie Jiver Hutchinson. Freddie soon established his ability and in post-war years became a much sought-after session musician for recordings. He worked a lot with Eric Robinson. For years, Freddie Clayton valiantly fought cancer, and his courage and cheerfulness, his positive attitude, was an inspiration to all. In later times, he turned to writing, album notes and articles full of the knowledge that he'd gained as a playing musician. He finally succumbed at the young age these days of 62 last October. Freddie's first trumpet moment with Geraldo was on the May 1945 recording of Robin Hood. It's the very briefest of solos after the vocal chorus by a gentleman that I met again a couple of weekends ago, Johnny Green. I hadn't seen him for ages, and it was a great pleasure to renew acquaintances because I've always been a great admirer of his singing. So, on this one record, two musicians of note, Johnny Green and the late Freddie Clayton.
Now, many long years ago, a fellow named Robin Hood, he used to rob the rich most every chance he could. Now, you shouldn't get me wrong, because he was no square. With his trusty bow and arrow, he could part your hair. His buddy was Little John, another was Allendale. 140 strong, together they hit the trail. They would scamper through the forest to the Blue Boar Inn. Mr. Edom told them where they should begin. He took from the rich man, gave it to the poor man, had a fear for no man, except for his chick, whose name was Mary Ann. And here's a switcheroo of Robin Hood's loyal crew. King Richard forgave them all, and here's what they had to do. They became his royal rangers and were very good. So that ends our little tale of Robin Hood. Rich man, and he gave it to the poor man. He had a fear for no man, except for his chick, whose name was Mary Ann. And here's a switcheroo of Robin Hood's loyal crew. King Richard forgave them all, and here's what they had to do. They became his royal rangers and were very good. So that ends our little tale of Robin Hood.
Geraldo and his orchestra, Robin Hood, with the trumpet of Freddy Clayton, just briefly, and the voice of Johnny Green. In remembering these Dance Band Days artists, I hope I've tried to convey the pleasure that they've all given us in their different ways. So really we've been rejoicing in the contributions they've made to our lives, and while we're saddened at their passing, we'll always remember the happiness they brought us. For me personally, I give thanks that my wife and I managed to share a great deal of joy with Henry Hall through the years. His humour, his generosity, his gentlemanliness are memories that we both treasure. And Henry's dear friend and companion for the past many years, Margaret, is always in our thoughts. May I end these tributes with part of a musical switch, a Henry Hall overture that he recorded in November 1937, recording just a very few of the songs that he helped make famous. What a pity they didn't record Henry Hall's closing theme right to the end. Dear Henry, lost to us in October last, mourned but remembered with joy by thousands upon thousands of us. Incidentally, the Coda Club convenes tomorrow at 3:30 at its usual venue, the Esquire Club in Piccadilly. We shall be doing birthday honours for Harry Gold, who is in his 80s, let's say, and looks about 42. Pianist Jules Rubens, who Tony Harrison tells me is also around the 80 mark. And a lady named Betty Kaplan. Who is she? Well, she was a former sax player, but she has a very important function at the Coda Club. And if you don't know what that is, you haven't been to a meeting. You should be. Come along tomorrow at 3:30 and find out. There we are. After those memories of talents that we recalled in the dance band days, we turned to an American musician, also in our memories, vibrant trumpeter Harry James, in concert in London in 1971.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harry James.
I well remember that visit of the Harry James Orchestra in 1971. It was a marvellous concert they played at the Royal Festival Hall. And then there was also a TV shot, I remember. Not only did I get to meet and talk to Harry himself, I managed to record his comments on two singers that he had at one time, Sinatra and Dick Haymes. I also spent a while with a favourite musician of mine in the band, pianist Jack Percival. Corky Cochrane was also in the band, soloing on tenor sax, and Sonny Payne did some impressive stick twirling behind the drums. I first came across this particular recording of the Harry James Band in London a number of years ago, I think, and it's now been picked up by Jasmine Records and is one of a batch of releases from them that we're going to be looking at. We'll come back to it presently, but let me give you a number now. It's Jasmine, JASM 2533. Harry James live in London, Jasmine, JASM 2533. Jasmine have also picked up from Wayne Knight's Sounds Great label in America, Mel Torme Live, Volume 1, which I've dipped into in part when I had it as an import. The Mel Torme show premiered on July the 6th, 1948, so writes Mel in the album note. It aired in prime time every Tuesday evening in a half-hour format, a summer substitute for the Dinah Shore Harry James show. Dean Elliott conducted the Hollywood studio musicians, and the Meltones were on hand. Among the selections that Mel tells us he has here was his lucky song, You're Driving Me Crazy. It was the first song he ever sang when he was 4 years old, would you believe, at the Black Hawk restaurant in Chicago. Obviously, it was a very liberal town.
You're driving me crazy. What did I do? Oh, what did I do? My tears for you make everything hazy, clouding the skies of blue. How true were the friends who were near me to cheer me, believe me they knew, but you were the kind who would hurt me, desert me when I needed you. Ooh, you're driving me crazy. What did I do to you? I go out of my mind over you. You're driving me crazy. Got no future, got no plans. Still I think I'm a happy man. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. Got no mansion, got no yacht. Still I'm happy with what I've got. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. Sunshine gives me a lovely day, and moonlight gives me the Milky Way. Bo, bo, bo. Got no checkbooks, got no banks. Still I'd like to express my thanks. I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. With the sun in the morning and the moon in the evening, I'm alright. Ba-bee-ba, ba-do-do, ba-bee-ba, ba-ba-do. I'm not a
got time to care. Got no future, got no plan.
Still, I guess I'm a happy man.
I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. Well, all right. Got no mansion, got no yacht.
Still, I'm happy with what I got.
I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night.
Yabba-da-boo-wee,
Yabba-da-boo-wee. Sunshine
gives me a lovely day.
Moonlight
gives me the Milky Way.
Hey, no checkbooks, no bank.
I'd like to express my thanks.
I got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. And with the sun in the morning and the moon in the evening, hey,
I'm all right.
Got the sun in the morning, moon in the evening, and I know that everything's all right.
Mel Torme and the Meltones first recorded I've Got the Sun in the Morning with Artie Shaw for Musicraft in 1946, so they had to make a slight adaptation of the arrangement for this later performance without the Shaw clarinet. Incidentally, in the Meltones on these 1948 shows were Virginia Maxey, married to composer-pianist Matt Dennis, Ralph Brewster, later a fine choral director, and Les Baxter, who became not long after this one of Hollywood's brightest orchestral composer, arranger, conductors. Anyway, there we are, excerpts from the Mel Torme shows of 1948. They're on Jasmine, JASM 2529. The album is simply titled Mel Torme Live, Volume 1. Jasmine, JASM 2529. Also very much live in the late 50s were a series of television shows organised by George T. Simon, all-star jazz shows, mainly with smaller groups, but there were two big bands present, at least on this recording there were, and to some exciting drumming, let the studio announcer tell you who's who.
And now, live from New York City, the world's greatest jazz.